measles, also extremely contagious. It's also respiratory. Only humans catch measles, so we can be proud, because even chimpanzees cannot do this. I actually need to change this. When I wrote this a few years ago, I haven't changed it, I keep forgetting. The vaccine was 95% effective, had to be given at 1 year of age. It's changed. Now you can give it at almost any age, and it's more effective than that. So essentially, measles is pretty much disappearing, except for those parents who won't give the vaccine.
Wasn't there a case of measles recently?
I'm sorry?
Wasn't there a pretty big case of measles recently on the West Coast?
Yeah.
2 or 3 years ago?
And why do you think that was?
People don't vaccinate.
There we go. Exactly. Stuff like that just drives me nuts. No. The only vaccine that I'm aware of that really does sometimes cause trouble is the flu vaccine.
Yeah.
Because I have heard of cases, because it changes every year, so you can't get a new one every year. I have heard of cases sometimes of people catching flu from the virus, or catching flu from the vaccine. But other than that,
I mean, it's a lot.
vaccines are safe. Vaccines are safe and really necessary. Anyhow, so this one, it's more effective than 95% and can now be given at almost any age. Better younger than later, but. So, infection, again, respiratory, but note the incubation time. This is the problem. 10 to 12 days. 10 to 12 days. The problem there is you go through your 10 to 12 days not even knowing if you got it. You're spreading it to other people. That's why it's so contagious.
Well, and then when one person has it.
Or, but just in case I did not, you're most contagious before you show symptoms. Before you show symptoms. Once you actually get sick, you're less contagious. You're still contagious, but less contagious. So before you even know that you're sick, is when you're most contagious. And that's why this is so really contagious. So let's see, sore throat, headache, cough, rash, lesions. Once again, the whole family's miserable for a week. And once again, it just comes once and that's it.
Where are these lesions? Are they all over?
All
your
over,
body?
all over, yeah. Including the face, you see them on the face.
Yeah.
German measles. You may or may not know this one, called rubella. It's normally fairly mild. It's not bad. But there's one major exception. It's extremely dangerous. When a pregnant woman gets it in the first trimester, then the rules change. 35% chance of serious fetal damage, including deafness to the child, of course, to the fetus, eye cataracts, heart defects, and early death. So clearly, just cataclysmic if the pregnant woman is exposed to German measles. And frankly, you know, if I were pregnant in the second trimester, I still wouldn't get near that. Who the heck's going to take a chance? But again, it's fairly mild, except for this. Except for this. Conjunctivitis, when I remember the name, conjunctiva. Conjunctivitis, of course, the membrane covering the eyeball and the eyelid. It is sometimes still caused by contact lenses. It's gotten better, but it can still be an issue to cause conjunctivitis. Trachoma is caused by chlamydia, it's one of our bacteria. The greatest single infectious cause of blindness in the world. Where I was in Ghana, we had quite a bit of it. I didn't know what was causing it at the time, but we had quite a bit of it, and it was quite clear these people were blind. Sometimes young children. It was really, really tough. So especially Africa, Asia, so the third world countries still have this quite a bit.
Is trachoma only caused by chlamydia?
I think trachoma per se, yes. I mean, blindness can of course be caused by lots of things.
Right.
Yeah. Trachoma is caused by chlamydia.
And trachoma is a type of conjunctivitis.
Yes. No. I'm sorry. So conjunctivitis is specifically for the eye. Trachoma is actually not a conjunctivitis, but it does affect the conjunctiva. It's not an inflammation.
Okay.
It's a
It's a
disease.
separate.
Yeah, yeah. It's a disease, but it's not an inflammation. But it does affect the conjunctiva.
Trachoma is bacteria, right?
Trachoma is a disease. Chlamydia is a bacteria.
Does it all have the
I
S
think
in
they're
it?
one of the
Eye.
spiro, like rub and then rub.
Chlamydius?
Treponema.
Okay.
Treponema. Yeah. Oh, that's it for that. Diseases of the nervous system. Diseases of the nervous system. That's why I wanted to get those first two done the other day, because even these three still take a little while. I suspect you already know this. The nervous system is divided into the CNS and the PNS. So the brain and the spinal cord, the PNS and everything else. And both the brain and the spinal cord are covered by meninges, these protective membranes. And to a certain extent, they're similar. They're not exactly identical, but they're similar. In between the inner two layers, and some of you may remember these two layers from PNP. The outer layer is the dura mater, the middle layer, the arachnoid mater, inner layer, the pia mater. If you don't remember, don't worry about it, off the record. But the inner two layers are your arachnoid mater and the pia mater. So in between those two layers, you have the CSF, cerebrospinal fluid. Cerebrospinal fluid takes the function or the place of plasma in the CNS. And the CSF is where bacteria and viruses can multiply. So, meningitis is very serious, very, very serious. Headache, I mean severe headache. Nausea, vomiting, convulsions, death. Did I tell you the story of that Bellevue High School player, football player? No? Let me see what else I have here. Yeah. Meningitis, young children or older people. So the weaker parts of society. There's been a new type that's been coming out that affects people like you. The people who are pretty much in the prime of health. So we had a student here a few years ago, 20 years old. I didn't know her, but somewhere else. But she was here. So other people besides the very young, the very old are now being affected. But at any rate, a couple years ago now, this young kid playing football at Bellevue High School on a Monday night came home from football practice. It was in October. And of course, I can only imagine what the poor parents went through, not only losing their son, but of course, he was telling them he didn't feel very good, and they just said, take an aspirin. It really wasn't their fault. I mean, obviously, when you play football, you get banged up. So it really was not their fault at all. So anyhow, that's how fast it can go. 36 hours is a very young, healthy, strong kid. Yeah. And people do die. Sometimes they survive. The mortality rate, now mortality means the death rate. The death rate. It can be high. Survivors might have brain damage, or they might have nothing. They might be okay completely.
So, okay, how common is it? Because I actually happen to, one of my best friends, one of his friends got meningitis, and she ended up with several limb amputations as a result of it. Yeah, kind of a big deal.
Oh, sorry.
And I was just wondering how common that is, because I.
That's not common.
At
I'm
the
shocked.
time, well, yeah, she probably should have died, and they were able to save her, but it was at great cost.
I can't imagine why meningitis would cause amputation.
So they said that it was some type of bacterial meningitis. She picked it up. She went on a trip to, she.
The viral version is more mild. The bacterial version is more dangerous.
Well, and that, I think she ended up with, I guess, like splotches all over her skin and everything like watches. She picked it up. She went on a trip to Vegas, and on her flight back home, she started coming down with it. And so then there was this whole thing with calling everybody on the plane, might have attracted it from her, and all of that. And so I was just curious how common that. So
Not.
that I didn't think it seemed
Not.
like a weird thing to have, like a pretty uncommon thing. She was at Children's Hospital. She was there for.
I can't imagine why meningitis has anything to do with amputations.
Yeah, it infected all of her limbs.
She had to have had something else.
They told us it was meningitis. I mean, I didn't know her. I was getting all hearsay from a friend of mine. I went to visit her once, but yeah.
Well, that's gruesome.
Pretty common.
I assume not very old. So there is a viral version, a bacterial version. Oh, I'm sorry.
What do you think by mortality depends?
I could look it up, but you guys, I won't see you guys until next Tuesday.
And then we won't.
Then you won't care. Anyhow, again, this is unusual because usually bacterial infections are better than viral infections, but not this time. Not this time. The viral is better, the bacterial version worse.
That's so
Yes.
weird.
I'm not going anywhere with this, but there are 3 types of bacterial meningitis. So as always, variations. I'm not going anywhere with that. In fact, here I have. Children are at risk and old people. As I just told you, younger people are too. I mean, younger healthy people are also at risk. Prompt treatment is essential. So you start treatment even before you know what's causing it. And you might wonder, well, how can you treat it if you don't know the cause? Well, that part, no, you cannot. But what you do is you treat the symptoms. You make sure the symptoms don't kill. And then once you know if it's bacterial or viral, then you start working on that. But at least you treat the symptoms. That's what that is. Tetanus, caused by Clostridium, and specifically Clostridium tetani, obligate anaerobe, and tetanus we've talked about. Where your muscles contract, they won't relax, sometimes break bones. We've talked about that. So what it's doing is releasing a neurotoxin which blocks the relaxation pathway. So you're not able to send out nerve impulses to say, relax your muscles. Now, neurotoxin is an exotoxin. So Clostridium is a gram-positive bacteria. I'm sorry.
Say it again.
Yeah, neurotoxin is an exotoxin. And that means that Clostridium is gram-positive.
But tetanus itself is obligate.
No, tetanus is a disease. The bacteria causing tetanus is an obligate anaerobe, and that's Clostridium. Tetanus is a disease, it's not a bacteria.
So when you have the tetanus vaccine, you're actually protecting yourself against the Clostridium.
Correct, correct. And those tetanus shots are good for 10 years.
Yeah, they need to get them like every 5 years now.
Really?
Because a lot of them are paired with that pertussis vaccine.
No. Well, frankly, I wouldn't argue about it. It's such a bad disease. They want to give it to you every 5 years, go for it.
Right.
But usually 10. Sometimes called lockjaw because your jaw muscles can tighten up on you. Botulism, food poisoning of course, is also caused by Clostridium. Clostridium is a bad bacteria. If I can spell properly, that U would not be there. There should be botulinum, Clostridium botulinum. Clostridium can make endospores. You can swallow the endospores. You can take a bath in them. You really won't do any damage. It's the bacteria that will do damage. So in anaerobic environments, because after all the bacteria is obligate anaerobe, the exotoxin is released. That's a serious neurotoxin. Again, exotoxin, gram-positive bacteria. And the neurotoxin is a poison. It can kill. Nausea, convulsions, cramps, severe pain, death. And really, it's a fairly high number of people who die of food poisoning every year. And usually it's coming from bad canning. People are trying to can jelly or something and they don't do it right. The bacteria get in there and they're not killed.
So, my daughter's pediatrician told me not to.
I'm sorry, I'll suggest don't do it. So a lot of leapers is the word, leapers, L-E-P-E-R, can actually live pretty normal lives with medication. Rabies, yep. Rabies can result in encephalitis and inflammation of the brain tissues, and used to be called brain fever, along with meningitis. And you all know probably that rabies can be caused by the bite of a mad dog. Yes, it can, but also raccoons and also bats. They can bite and give you rabies. Now, of course, not every animal. It's got to be rabid. It's got to be affected. It's caused by the rhabdovirus. For me, it's always easy to remember because it just sounds like rabies virus. The rhabdovirus.
You said carried by rhabdovirus?
Well, it's caused by the rhabdovirus. Symptoms of rabies: alternating agitation and calm. So at first, the dog will say just very excited and jumping up and down and running and whatever, and then calm, almost comatose, and then agitated again. Spasms of the throat when swallowing liquid. Rabies is sometimes called hydrophobia, and hydrophobia literally means fear of liquid, fear of water. But in this case, and I don't know the cause, but in this case, the throat spasms when trying to swallow liquids, so thus you can't swallow. Definitely can tell. Now, if a human is attacked, then there are rabies shots you can get right in the stomach. Get rabies shots. If you don't get the rabies shots, then yeah, you'll die. But normally, if they get you pretty quickly, you'll be all right. Biting actions can occur. It's not that he's trying to bite you, it's just part of the rabies, it just bites. Along with increased saliva, we've all heard the phrase foaming at the mouth, that's where it comes from. Because the saliva just comes pouring out of the dog's mouth. So usually if a dog or a raccoon or something has rabies, yeah, they just get put down and get shot. And at the end, after a long quarter, done with all of that.
How long will they live?
Yes,
Talking about like in the can,
it can be.
not for your body.
Both of the above. I mean,
Okay.
it'll come from the can. So the toxin will develop in the can and then will spread to your body as a toxin. And of course, causes the disease. So yeah, it won't develop in your body, it will develop in the can and then spread to your body. Yes. Low doses. Low doses, yeah. Yeah, and that's always been the danger. If they give you too much, then yes, it will. But for some people, it's worth it. I don't know.